look, I've been reading this paper because I got to stay I got a headache trying to stay on course, so just let me go off this paper for a minute. Before y'all start calling my radio show and DMing me, talking about why you ain't asked no hard-hitting questions, that ain't what this is. I'm throwing a lob. This is an alley-oop for a dunk, because this administration needs to get the word out of what they're actually doing and what they're actually accomplishing, so we can stop all this foolishness about what you're doing for black people. Can't nobody come out with no agenda and call it this for black people and expect to get in the White House. You got to play the game different. Y'all know what this is. So now this next question is another lob for her to dunk. Because they done a lot, man. But we see, I'm on this radio show. I'm hearing all these people talking about, I'm not voting if they not doing nothing for us. Listen to me. If you do not vote, the analytics will show. They know how many women vote, they know the age you are when you vote. If we don't vote, how we going to ask for something next time? If you ain't got no voting power, you talking about reparations. Ain't nobody finna give you no reparations and you don't vote. Oh, why you think they finna give us some money? No how, man. I hope they do. They owe us. I'll go down there.
This is the Political Brown Kid here. Hope everyone's having a good day. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing the Steve Harvey clip. And the reason why I'm going to bring this up and talking about this, of course, because we're approaching election season and I like talking politics. And this is very concerning. Number one, once again, we have a celebrity that knows nothing about politics, knows nothing about history for black people or black agenda. He's no Claude Anderson. He's not even a Boyce Watkins or Dr. Umar Johnson. So I don't know why anybody would even listen to him or his credentials. He does not have any. If I want to talk about jokes, and he's not even that funny, and Cat Williams has already proven him to be, what do you call it, a facade or charade or fraud. I'm not getting advice from him. He's a successful person. He's a successful facilitator of television shows, of TV show hosts. I'll give him that. But when it comes to politics, stay out of things and stop trying to convince people to do things. The other thing that I want to talk to you about mention is that where did the impartiality or the neutrality in journalism? And I know these people aren't journalists, but why is it that every time someone interviews someone, there's just this harsh stance? When you look at your media outlets today, they're just strictly either pro-liberal, i.e. pro-Democrat, or they're pro-conservative, i.e. pro-Republican. You can't listen to Fox, you can't listen to CNN and MSNBC. You can't turn on Sirius Radio and listen to the black channels, was it 126 and 127. You can't listen to the other channels because all of these people are going to do is imbue in your brain all day long why this candidate is great and the other candidate is the devil, whichever side you're on. Whatever happened to impartiality in journalism where they just present the information similar to what kind of C-SPAN does. C-SPAN is probably the closest that you're going to get, and NPR, they're going to be probably the closest that you're going to get to impartiality. But let's get back to Steve Harvey. He's just saying a bunch of things here that's just not right. Steve Harvey, number one, has destroyed the black community. He's already destroyed black relationships by trying to think that he can give black women advice on how to deal with black men. And he's already just destroyed that by telling black women they have to do nothing, that they are the table, and that it's in everything that's going wrong with relationships is about the black man, and that women are fine, and that there's nothing to see here, and that they're princesses and they have no flaws. And now he's sitting up here telling y'all that you should not be asking what you're going to do, that we shouldn't be asking Kamala Harris why she isn't going to do anything for the black community. So before I even talk about that, I'm going to pivot back to that. But let me just mention this other thing because it kind of stated this up front in the video. He stated, well, I know y'all gonna be mad at me for asking some softball questions. I'm not here to ask hard questions. I'm paraphrasing now. I'm not here to ask hard questions. Y'all don't worry about my softball questions. I'm here to throw her some alley oops so she can dunk. Already he's coming into this with a biased perspective. Here's the problem that I have. I just recently did a video on Donald Trump when Donald Trump went to the National Association of Black Journalists. And once again, I keep telling people, because I don't know why people want to jump into my comment section, and just because I provide some flattering conversations about Donald Trump, they assume that I am a Donald Trump supporter, and they automatically assume that I hate Kamala Harris. And some of those statements may be right. I'm not a Donald Trump supporter. I've always told y'all that I am not supporting any president in this presidential election. I'm voting for nationally. I'm voting for the senators, and I'm voting in my local elections. That's it. But the president, I could care less about, because trust me, the House of Representatives and Congress is far more important than the president. That's just my personal opinion. And then my local elections count as well. But getting back on topic is this. When Donald Trump went to the National Association of Black Journalists, he didn't even sit down for 2 seconds before you had 3 black women on a panel. Number one, there was no black man on that panel. This is the National Association of Black Journalists. They couldn't find a competent black male journalist in the building. So you had 3 black women on this panel. And it's the moment that Donald Trump sits down, he didn't even get the seat warm. And she's up there talking about, the very first question she asks is, you've called black women this, you said this about black women, you said this about black people, you said that, so why aren't you a racist? That was his very first question. Now, once again, I'm not trying to say that that question should not have been asked, but what I'm saying is this. You're going to invite someone into your space, and this person is potentially your next leader that can possibly do something for the National Association of Black Journalists. Why wouldn't you at least warm up to those questions? Ask some lead-in questions, make the person feel welcome, and then you can kind of ask the questions and ask it in a more civilized and calming manner than what she did. You're going to bring a white man into an all-black setting, and you already know, I don't know why people are ignorant to this, but you have to think about your target audience. You have to think about everything. When you do stuff like whether it's marketing or anything, you have to think about the ramifications of the actions that you do. You're bringing a white man into an all-black setting, and you're putting him on the spot and on display in such a manner. So what if this man gets elected and he becomes your president, and let's just say, or there's another white man that comes along and he's going to be president? How do you think that they're going to be receptive to getting an invitation to come to the National Association of Black Journalists and speak again, knowing that they could possibly be ambushed in the way that Donald Trump was? But yet here on this platform, at this meeting, what the 100 Black Men Conference or whatever it was called. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't know the name, so I do apologize. But now you have Kamala Harris being given the white glove treatment. It's like, we're not going to ask her hard questions because she's a sister and we like her, so we're not going to ask any hard questions. We're going to make her feel welcome and good. And she's already told y'all that she doesn't plan on giving any type of black agenda. She doesn't believe in reparations. She believes in helping out all people as long as they're poor. And she's already gone on record and stating that she's not dealing with y'all. She's taken the playbook from Barack Obama. I've already stated that. But that's the first point. So my thing is that she gets the welcome treatment, Donald Trump doesn't. Just wanted to bring that up. But then just looking at when he's telling us that we shouldn't be asking a candidate what they want because we need to wait till the next time, and why not? If we're not going to vote, why would we think somebody would take us or our demand seriously? Because they need our vote. That's why. So we're not supposed to ask. We as a collective black group, according to Steve Harvey, we're not supposed to ask a potential presidential candidate, because she hasn't been, quote unquote, officially nominated yet or endorsed, because she has to go to the primaries next week. But we can't particularly ask for what we want. However, the gay communities always get addressed. When you go to these, when you watch these debates, they're always asking candidates, how do you feel about Israel? So why is it that we always have to, why is it that Israel gets taken into consideration and candidates have to ask how they're going to handle and be an ally to Israel? We have to make sure that candidates support Israel and and then we have to find out how are they going to support Israel. Then they always tell you what they're going to do for the gay community. Then they tell you what they're going to do for the immigrants. We're going to find a pathway to, even though these people are here illegally, these people have broken the law technically and taken up resources from tax-paying citizens. And just to kind of fill y'all in, if y'all have never lived around immigrants, because I've lived around immigrants. I've lived around immigrants and people that have come from the Latin America and Caribbean. They've actually come from South America, from Mexico, and so that region of the world. But when you listen to them, those immigrants that have come here legally, they do not support the illegal immigrants. And rightfully so, because they're like, I went through the proper protocol to get here, and now someone else gets to cheat and come here. So, but getting back on topic, they always address how they're going to handle and be friends with illegal immigrants and find a way to help them to stay here off of our dime, off of taxpayers' dimes. So they have an agenda. And then most egregious of all is women. This whole feminist movement. Women get to demand, okay, my reproductive rights. I want my uterus taken care of. I want my ovaries taken care of. I want my little joy spot, my little love zone. When I have happy time, my happy time spot. I want that taken care of, so I'm able to do whatever I want to do with whomever I want to do it with and not be judged. And also, I want the government to give me free contraceptives, free pills, free Plan B pills, free everything pills. And I want y'all to uphold Roe v. Wade and I want y'all to make sure my body is my choice. So women get to make demands. But when it comes to black people, we can't make demands. I don't find that in any way to be right. And I don't know how Steve Harvey is sitting up here. And I've never really liked Steve Harvey. I'm going to just be honest with y'all. But the more and more I hear him talk, it's just unconscionable to me how he has elevated himself. Because I remember when he went from being a nobody talk show person on Showtime at the Apollo with that fake toupee and always telling that Mitch Green, Mike Tyson punch joke, to being this uber celebrity that he is. And he has he has about 12 income streams. He does stand up, or he no longer does stand up. He does movies. He has a radio show. He has a game show. He has a judge show. He has what is it called? Judge Steve Harvey or whatever. He has at least 5 income streams just in the media world alone. And yet he is up here with his influential platform, and they expect us to ask for nothing and just hope for the best just because somebody is a black woman. And once again, I am not against black women. I think, and this is the problem, let me just state this too, and this is coming at the end, and I hope there are black women watching this, listening to this. Black men are not against black women. I think a lot of black men, number one, are turned off with the democratic process because black men have been left behind. That's number one. Black women continually blame black men for everything that's gone wrong in politics. We went out and voted for Stacey Abrams. She lost. And then black women turned on black men and said black men were the problem. They didn't vote. And then black women, we do our job. Black women, they separate themselves from us. And then they blame everything on black men. And so black men feel really left out because we're not loved by black women. And we don't get any policies created for us, and we don't get any recognition for anything. So that's one thing. And the other portion about this is when you look at just the dynamics between black people, it's not that we don't like, or it's not that, once again, we're not against black women, but also too just focusing on Kamala Harris. It's the way she was nominated. Also, yeah, and let me bring this up too. When they say that making demands, we should make demands. So why isn't Steve Harvey upset that Kamala Harris got her nomination? She became vice president because she was pretty much an affirmative action pick. Joe Biden literally said, if you nominate me, I'm picking a black woman. He didn't pick Stacey Abrams, who's far more qualified than Kamala Harris, but he picked her once again because she's light-skinned and she's quote unquote probably more attractive. She passes the brown paper bag in the cone test, and I'm going on record to state that Stacey Abrams looked too much like, and I'm not trying to say she looked like Aunt Jemima, but that's the perception that white people get. She's a big, heavy-set black woman, brown skin, with the hairstyle that she has and the gap in her tooth. They weren't picking her, and they weren't going to pick any other brown-skinned black woman, even though they were far more deserving than her. And so she became a pick. And I keep telling y'all, Joe Biden said the same thing about Barack Obama. He's light-skinned and articulate, and white people like that. And y'all black people can't resonate with that. When Joe Biden dropped out of the election, so just 2 months ago in June, when Joe Biden dropped out of the election, black women were on television talk about it better be a black woman that they nominate. They better nominate Kamala Harris. Instead of just saying we need to hurry up and have a quick primary and get this settled out and let this thing come to a vote, they just said it better be a black woman. So how come everyone else gets to make demands, but when it comes to black people collectively, they don't want to do that? Oh, I guess because black men would benefit too. They hate black. I'm telling you, go watch TV and see if you can find a black man on television. And when I'm saying that, I'm not talking about on Tyler Perry's UPN. I'm not talking about on Oprah Winfrey's OWN. I'm not talking about on Sheila Johnson's. I mean, not Sheila Johnson, but on Kathy Hughes' TV One. I'm not talking about on a black television show. I'm talking about go on to Netflix, go on to Amazon Prime, watch their marquee show, their big budget shows, and tell me if you see a black man on these shows. Go watch a sci-fi show. Tell me if you see a black man on there, and tell me you see if he has a prominent role, if he's not a homosexual, if he's in a role and he's in a loving relationship with a black woman. You're not going to find this stuff. So we're not against black women. We were just upset at the process that went in place in order to nominate Kamala Harris. Number one, how she got the vice presidential nomination was she was an affirmative action pick. And now they just basically pushed Joe Biden to the side, which he should have dropped out because he's not doing well. That's just my personal opinion. But then she just gets the nomination. She didn't even win a primary between anybody. And no one challenged her. I just made a video when he dropped out. Gavin Newsom wasn't going to challenge her. Pete Buttigieg. You weren't going to find Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders. Nobody was going to run up against a black woman because they wanted it to be her time. And that's the only thing that upsets us. And then also, too, my thing is, why do we always, as black people, always get these half-breeds? And no offense to you half-breeds out there, but why is it that in order for black people to make history, it always has to be a light-skinned black that's not really black, as these white people are going to say, because they're always going to say they did the same thing with Barack Obama. And I told y'all I did not want to vote for Barack Obama. I just voted for him reluctantly, just to make history. And the second time I didn't vote for him at all, because all I had to hear on my job was, he's half white, he was raised by his white mama. And then I got to hear from white Latinos, he's not black, he's mixed. I have to hear this. And you're going to hear the same thing with Kamala Harris. She's Indian. She's not black. She's Indian. She's multiracial. They always downplay our blackness, and that ticks me off. So why can't we get a real black person up here with a black spouse, at least? And that's the one thing that kind of made me feel comfortable with Barack Obama was at least he's married to a black woman, has black kids. She has nothing. She has nothing. She's not even tied to the black community. So I don't even see why people feel the need to be so pressed to go out and vote for her. But that's just my thoughts on this. And I just wanted you black women to hear this. I know you still don't give a damn because black women just have, they're very firm and they stand in their conviction. Even they can be wrong as hell. They would go down on a boat with Satan and Hitler if they had to, just as opposed to admitting that they're wrong. But these are the things that we have to deal with. And now you have people like Steve Harvey, and I'm hearing this other people, Ricky Smiley. I haven't heard what Ricky Smiley says. I try not to watch the news too much because to me, it's just going to tick me off. But I just wanted to drop this information on this video and just provide you with my perspective on this. Once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. I would definitely appreciate it if you put a comment in the comment section. Also hit the like and subscribe button. I'm out of here.